everyone. My name is Neathery Falchuk, and my pronouns are they and she. And I'm the founder of Ample and Rooted, an inclusive practice where we offer therapy, coaching, and training. I'm passionate about inclusive language because as a therapist, I see firsthand the positive benefits and also negative consequences that come when we exclude others. I also am passionate because inclusive language also makes space for me as a human to exist and be seen and honored for my wholeness. Tonight, the first term I'd like to share with you is sex, and not the kind of sex you're thinking about. I'm talking about the assigned sex we are given at birth based on our genitalia, hormones, and chromosomes. The factors that determine our assigned sex begin at fertilization of the sperm and the egg. Each sperm has either an X or Y chromosome in it, and all eggs have an X chromosome. When the sperm fertilizes the egg, its X or Y chromosome combines with the X chromosome of the egg. So a person with XX chromosomes typically develop what society has labeled female, sex and reproductive organs, and a person with XY chromosomes typically develop what we label male, sex and reproductive organs. Other arrangements of chromosomes, hormones, or genitalia do happen. Current estimates are showing that 1 or 2 in 100 people born in the US are intersex. And sometimes we can assign a sex at birth, and oftentimes, and particularly for those who are intersex, which is they don't fall into either category of male or female sex. We may not know someone is intersex until they age or start to go through puberty, and some people can actually go their whole life not ever discovering that they're intersex. So this brings us to our next term, gender. Gender refers to a culturally and often historically specific understanding of what it means to be masculine or feminine, and is used to construct and reinforce expectations about how individuals should appear and behave. The term gender roles can come up. It's kind of a prescribed, socially constructed ideas of ways of being. And these roles and expectations are placed on us before we can even understand it and before we can even express to our caretakers who we are. A great example of this is the so-called gender reveal parties that parents can have to reveal the gender of their baby. Well, how do they know the gender? They're assuming gender based on what genitals they expect the baby will have, which may or may not fit for that child. Gender also refers to gender identity, which is the internal sense we have about who we are, regardless of our biology. Everyone has a gender identity, every single person. In the binary way of thinking, our genitals, not our internal sense of self, are the deciding factor. So this binary view is also a result of colonization and Eurocentric, patriarchal, white, heterosexual, and Christian normative beliefs. History shows us that indigenous cultures have an expanded view of gender, with some cultures having up to 5 or 6 different genders. Most of the time, these individuals in communities are also seen as wise people in the community. Gender expression is also different from gender identity. Gender expression is our public gender, so what someone sees of us. And how someone chooses to express their gender is either through name, pronouns, clothing, hair, behaviors, and so much more. Because we're provided with limited language for gender, it may take a person some time to discover or even create the language and expression that best communicates their internal experience. So we cannot assume anyone's gender identity just by looking at them. This will lead us to the final term for tonight that I'll be sharing about, which is pronouns. And pronouns are linguistic tools used to refer to someone in the third person. So examples are they, them, ze, here, she, her, he, him, and more. Oftentimes, people make assumptions about the gender of another person and apply a pronoun that matches the assumption. Even if this assumption is correct, it sends a message that people have to look a certain way to demonstrate the gender they are or are not. So when you use the wrong pronoun to refer to someone, you are misgendering them. Since we can't assume what pronouns someone uses just by looking at them, it's helpful to either add your own pronouns to your email, your Zoom name, a badge, or to state them when you meet someone and when you meet someone new. This is especially helpful if you're a cisgender, and cisgender is essentially your gender identity matches the assigned your assigned sex and assumed gender at birth. When cisgender people are able to normalize offering and asking for pronouns, that also makes space for those of us who use pronouns that don't match our assumptions from other people. It just normalizes the sharing of who we are and people to respect that. Until you know someone's pronouns, it's best to defer to gender-neutral language, using folks, y'all, people, and just using they, them until you know how someone wants to be referred to. Inclusive language can be life-saving. I've had many clients come to Ample and Rooted after having really harmful experiences with other therapists and doctors and just other workplace stressors as well. That only intensifies the feeling of not belonging. Using inclusive language demonstrates to those with marginalized identities that this was created with you in mind and that your experience matters. And what a world that would be where everyone could feel that they belong. Thank you for your time tonight.